What is up, YouTube? This is Jam477, and today I'm giving you guys the deck profiles that I used in my duels with ZEXAL era decks. With that said, let's jump right into Ballet Boxers. Starting things off with 3 copies of Glassjaw, 3 copies of Ballet Boxer Shadow, which can special summon itself by detaching a material from one of your Ballet Boxer Exceeds monsters. Ballet Boxer Switch Itter, I think that's how you say it. Run 3 copies of this card. The only problem is that when you use this monster's effect, you have to bring out Ballet Boxer type monsters, at least special summoning wise. So keep that in mind when you're running this card. 3 copies of Goblin Deberg, 1 copy of Spar. This does have kind of like a special summoning effect, but problem is you cannot get out your battle phase when you use it, which is why I'm only wanting 1 copy. 3 copies of Kage Tokage, because it can special summon itself from the hand if you special summon a level 4 monster, which the majority of this deck is full of. And 3 copies of Ballet Boxer Headgear, which is basically kind of like your starter for the deck. 2 copies of Ash Blossom Enjoy Spring, and 3 copies of Ballet Boxer Counterpunch, which kind of acts like Honest, except it only gives your monster 1,000 attack. 1 Reinforcement of the Army, 2 copies of Pot of Desires, 3 copies Battle Unboxing Spirit, which kind of acts like a Monster Reborn for the deck. 1 Rank Up Magic, the 7th one, as a means to help bring out number C105, Battle Boxer Comet Cestus, 1 Monster Reborn. 2 copies of Rank Up Magic, Limited Barriers Force. Again, this means bring out Chaos number 105, and can also bring out Chaos number 80, Wycrium in Berserk. And 1 copy of Living Fossil. Then we have 2 copies of Infinite Impermanence, 2 copies of Jolt Counter, which is one of the counters that Ballet Boxer has. And we have 1 Solemn Strike. Then for the X deck, 1 copy of Chaos number 105, Ballet Boxer Comet Cestus, 1 Chaos number 80, Wycrium in Berserk, 1 copy of number 105, Ballet Boxer Star Cestus, 3 copies of number 79, Ballet Boxer Nova Kaiser. When this card is destroyed either by battle or card effect, you can special summon any number of Ballet monsters from the arch deck, which provides the material you need to bring out number 105, if you want. 3 copies of Ballet Boxer League Yoke, which is basically your main go-to play if you're going first, although sometimes you can't necessarily do that. Number 41, Babushka, the Terribly Tired Tepper, 1 Evil Swarm Exciton Knight, and 1 copy of number 80, Rhapsody in Berserk. Great, now we got Queen playing in my head now. 1 Infinite Track Fortress Mega Clubs. Don't really get into this all that often, but it's there if you need it. And 1 Nightmare Unicorn and 1 Nightmare Phoenix. So yeah, this is it for my Ballet Boxer deck. Let's move on to Gimme Puppets. Okay, here is my Gimme Puppet deck. I run 2 copies of Gimme Puppet Magnet Doll, 2 copies of Gimme Puppet Besquit doll? Or is it Banquet doll? I'm not sure which one. 2 copies of Gear Spinning Spirit. 3 copies of Drury Doll. 1 Giving Puppet Egghead. 2 copies of Giving Puppet Destroy. 3 copies of Giving Puppet Terror Baby. 3 copies of Giving Puppet Humpty Dumpty. And 1 Giving Puppet Gear Change. 2 copies of Pot of Desires. 2 Trade-In. 2 copies of Rank Up Magic Neuron Force. 2 copies of Cadon's Puppet. 3 copies of Machine Duplication, which you can use fairly well because a lot of your Giving Puppets, especially the higher level ones, have 500 less attack. 2 copies of Jump Puppet, which is the Monster Reborn for the Giving Puppet deck. 1 Foolish, 1 Monster Reborn, and 1 Rank Up Magic Quick Chaos. Then I have 2 copies of Infinite Impermanence, 2 copies of Puppet Parade, and 1 Solemn Judgment. I am kind of toying with the idea to switch this to Solemn Strike. I haven't decided. For the extra deck, I run 2 copies of number C40, Giving Puppet a Dark Strings, 1 number C15, Giving Puppet Giant Hunter, number 88, Giving Puppet of Leo, number 38, Hope Harbinger Dragon Titanic Galaxy, 2 copies of number 40, Giving Puppet of Strings, 1 Dig Gear Sue, the Orchestra of the Evening Star, 1 copy of number 15, Giving Puppet Giant Grinder, and 2 copies of Giving Puppet Gigantinius Doll. I think that's how you say it. I could be wrong. I'm most certainly wrong. And we have 1 Nightmare Unicorn, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, and 2 copies of Giving Puppet Chimera Doll. So that's it for Giving Puppets. Now let's move on to ninjas. Okay, so here is my ninja deck. A ninja deck. I can talk today. This went through quite a lot of changes as I was playing the deck. We have 1 copy of Twilight Ninja Getsuga the Shogun, 1 Miss Valley Apex Evian, 1 Dart Smorg, 3 copies of Twilight Ninja Jaugen, 2 Photon Thrashers, 3 copies of Yellow Ninja, 3 copies of Ninja Grandmaster Hanzo, 3 copies of Upstart Golden Ninja, and 1 copy of Twilight Ninja Kage. Then we have run 2 copies of Armor Ninjutsu Art of Alchemy, basically for draw power. 1 Reinforcement of the Army, 1 Monster Reborn, 1 Call by the Grave, 3 copies of Ninjutsu Art Notebook. This basically searches out your Ninjutsu Art spells and traps. Then I have 1 Power of the Guardians, 1 DDDR Different Dimension Reincarnation, Moon Mirror Shield, Divine Sword Phoenix Blade, and 1 Living Fossil. I also run Hidden Village of the Ninjutsu Arts. Then I run 2 copies of Summon Limit, which definitely helps. Especially if you're dealing with an opponent who likes to just swarm the field and goes for that OTK. Then we have 3 copies of Ninjutsu Art of Transformation to help you get out your Apex Evian and Flawless Dark Smorg, and 2 copies of Solemn Strike. For the extra deck, I have Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon, Odd Eyes Absolute Dragon, Blade Armor Ninja, number 41 Babushka the Terribly Tired Tapper, Evil Swarm Exton Knight, Number 60, Dragaris, the Timeless. Then we have Borla Sword Dragon. Just Skull Dragon. Appaloosa, the Bow of the Goddess. Nightmare Unicorn. 2 copies of Ninja Grandmaster Saizo. 1 Nightmare Phoenix. 1 Isolde. 2 Tales of the Noble Knights. And 1 Union Carrier. So yes, this is my ninja deck. Let's move on to hats. Okay, here's my hat deck. Now for all you new players in the game, hat stands for hand, artifact, trap trick. This was a very powerful deck back during the ZEXAL era. And I tried my best to kind of bring it back to modern day. Emphasis on try. So, start things off with, I play 3 copies of Parallel Exceed. 2 copies of Artifact Scythe to basically lock your opponent out of the extra deck. 2 copies of Artifact Moral Tech. This basically pops a card if you time it right. 1 Trap Trick Dionita. I think that's how you say it. I could be wrong. 3 copies of Thunder Hand, which can special summon itself when a monster with attack or defense of 1600 original is destroyed by battle or card effect, and can pop a card. 3 copies of Trap Trick Fire Melioda. I think that's how you say it. I could be wrong. We also have 2 copies of Fire Hand and 2 copies of Ice Hand. Each one can special summon the other, as well as pop cards. Fire Hand pops monsters, while Ice Hand pops spells and traps. And we have 1 copy of Trap Trick Jin Isa. Then for spells, I have 1 Raigeki, 1 Harvey's Fire Duster, 1 Pot of Desires, 1 Foolish, 1 Monster Reborn, and 2 copies of Artifact Ignition, which can pop your own back row to set any of the artifacts. Although what you really want to do is pop your own artifact cards with this during your opponent's turn. That way you get out their effects and disrupt your opponent's plays. I have 2 copies of Void Trap Hole, 3 copies of Artifact Sanctum, which can special summon an artifact monster from your deck, which will set their effects off. 1 Bombless Trap Hole, 1 Trap Trick's Trap Hole Nightmare, 2 copies of Gravedigger's Trap Hole, which basically disrupts hand trap plays as well as plays in the graveyard, and any effect that activates in the battle zone. And you can inflict your opponent for 2,000, which is also nice. 2 copies of Quickie Mirror Force, just to add disruption to your opponent, as well as Floodgate Trap Hole. And 1 Trap Trick, which allows you to send a copy of a normal trap to the graveyard to set another copy onto the field. Mostly you want to use this for Artifact Sanctum. Then for the S check, I have 1 number S39 Utopia the Lightning, 1 number 39 Utopia, 1 Trap Checks Alumiros, number 41 Babushka the Tablet Tire Tepper, number 106 Giant Hand. Now, I did used to play the Chaos version of that monster. Number 106 Giant Red Hand. Problem is, it's a fat to negate all effects, it's mandatory. So this will trigger when you try to activate something. It's just not worth it. So I took it out. Um, I run one copy of Evil Swarm X Ton Knight, two copies of Sharp Tricks to Felicia, one Bortle Sword Dragon, one Nightmare Unicorn, one Nightmare Phoenix, one Nightmare Cerberus, and three copies of Trap Tricks Sarah. So yes, that's it for my hat deck. Let's move on to Photons. Okay, here is my Photon deck. I run three copies of Galaxy Eyes Afterglow Dragon, three copies of Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon, two copies of Galaxy Knight, one Galaxy Brave, three copies of Galaxy Soldier, two copies of Photon Thresher, three Photon Vanisher, two copies of Photon Advance, three Photon Orbital, and two copies of Galaxy Wizard. Three copies of Photon Sanctuary, which you're mainly going to use this card to help get out your Link monsters. Those being Bujinki, Ashimia, and Galaxy Eyes Soul Flare Dragon. Two copies of Traden, and three copies of Galaxy Expedition. Mainly you gotta use this card when you got an Exceed play going. When it's either for any of your rank 8 monsters, or if you want to go to Cyber Dragon Infinity. Two copies of Galaxy Trance, one Monster Reborn, one Rank of Magic Cypher Ascension, and one Hybrid Galaxy, which you can use to bring out a Galaxy-sized Photon Dragon by triggering one of your monsters as well as one of your opponent's monsters. Then we have two Infinite Impermanents, one Tachyon Chaos Hole, and one Tachyon Transmigration. For the extra deck, I run one copy of Galaxy Eyes Cypher X Dragon, one Neo Galaxy Eyes Cypher Dragon, one Galaxy Eyes Cypher Blade Dragon, Galaxy Eyes Full Armor Photon Dragon, number 62 Galaxy Eyes Prime Photon Dragon, 2 Galaxy Eyes Cypher Dragon, number 38 Hope Harbinger Dragon Titanic Galaxy, number 90 Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord, Cyber Dragon Infinity, Cyber Dragon Nova, Starlight Photon Blast Dragon, 2 Galaxy Eyes Soul Flare Dragon, and Bujinki Ashimia. And yeah, that's it for Photons. Now we get on to the final deck profile, which is going to be Sharks. Okay, here is my Shark deck profile, which utilizes cards from the Eternity Code set. Speaking of which, let's start things off with 3 copies of Buzzsaw Shark, which allows you to special summon a water monster from your deck as long as it has the same level as a monster this card is targeting, which I mostly use to target itself. Then we have 1 copy of Right Hand Shark, 2 copies of Lantern Shark, which allows you to bring out any rank 5 or 3 Exceeds monsters without having to worry about, changing the monster's level. 3 copies of White Stingray, which can special summon itself from the hand if you discard a water monster. 2 copies of Exceeds Sodolphiny, 3 copies of Silent Angular. This card can special summon itself from the hand if you control a water monster, although you can't special summon from the hand again after you bring this card out. Then we have 3 copies of Exceed Remora. I think that's how you say it. 2 copies of Tangy Spirit Sheathenia. I think that's how you say it. 1 left-hand shark. 2 copies of Ash Blossom Enjoy Spring, and 3 copies of Beautiful Princess. Then we have 1 copy of Instant Fusion, 1 for 1. 2 copies of White Mirror. 2 copies of Pot of Desires. 1 Rank of Magic the 7th one. 1 Monster Reborn. 1 Call by the Grave, and 1 Whitefish Salvation. Salvage. Then we have 2 copies of Infinite Impermanence, 1 Xyz's Revised Splash, and 1 Solemn Judgment. For the X deck, I have 1 Mud Dragon of the Swamp, which is my only target for Instant Fusion. Chaos number 101, Silent Honor Dark. 2 copies of Valiant Shark Lancer. This card, along with number 71, Rebarian Shark, are my main go-to ways of trying to get recommended the 7th one at the top of my deck. So that way I can draw it and use it as a threat to bring out Silent Honor Dark. Then we have 2 copies of Bahamut Shark. 1, number 37, Hope Woven Dragon Spider Shark. Number 101, Silent Honor Arc. Full Armor Black Ray Lancer. 1 Abyss Dweller. You already know what this card is. And 2 copies of Totally Awesome. I'm Not Sorry. Then we have 1 copy of number F-Zero Utopic Future Dragon and number F-Zero Utopic Future. So yeah, that's it for all my ZEXAL era decks. If you want to try these out, I put a link in the description to the YTO deck page, my deck page, I should say. So you can try these decks out for yourself, and if you have any suggestions on how to improve them, leave a comment there. And next set of videos I should be doing should be on Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc V. And oh boy, that's gonna be a long one. I may have to do that in multi-parts. Anyway, if you like this video, click the subscribe button. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm Jack477, and I'm signing out.